Hi, Professor. My name is Kendra Witherspoon. This is my last video, and I'm sure we are all very, very excited about that. This video is going to be about Unit 8, I believe. And so basically the overview of the unit is it goes over ethics and products, product safety, product sales, and social issues. Because we live in such a capitalistic world right now, products really have an effect on the way that we live our lives, on the way that our quality of life can be, and products also have the ability to affect our health, which is why it's important to have safety labels on products. Along with that, with the more products that are sold, it can really affect social issues. So, like if M&M's, or in the case today, I read once, if M&M's did a campaign that supported like a family who had lost a child to police brutality, then a lot of the issues would be, hey, that company is profiting off of somebody's death, which is not okay. But it's also good because profits from those sales would go to the family to help. So basically, it doesn't seem like companies would necessarily have a large impact on social issues, but it does. And along with that, companies overall affect the economy. Us as consumers affect the economy, and with a lot of economic issues come social issues as well, about the wage gap, about inequality in the way that we live. And so that is the overview for Unit 8. The company that I chose to talk about was Chipotle Mexican Grill. I feel like this is really important because they have had a lot of issues with their sanitariness, I guess you could say. They have made a lot of people sick through the way that they are running their business, and that's definitely not ethical at all. Because they always say, oh, everything's so fresh, everything's so locally sourced, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. And the fact is that it's not always, you can't always control everything that goes on in a company, even if you really try. So the history of this is that Chipotle Mexican Grill was basically founded by a man named Steve Ells in 1993, which is really new. He founded it in Denver, Colorado. He also named the company Chipotle because it is, kind of typical, in Hispanic cuisine, they use chilies and stuff like that, so I think it's a little bit basic. It's actually funny, my ex-boyfriend, his uncle is the chief marketing officer of Chipotle, which is super weird. That's not why I chose this, I promise. So basically, Steve Ells had attended the Culinary Institute in Hyde Park in New York. After that, he became a line cook at Jeremiah Tower in San Francisco. And then in 1993, he ended up taking what he learned from being a line cook in San Francisco to open up the first Chipotle, which actually was in his original hometown of Denver, Colorado. He basically had to use an $85,000 loan from his dad, which is cool. You're out of college, you do what you can. Basically, they did a calculation that they would have to sell 107 burritos a day to be profitable, which I believe that they're doing now. But the cool part is that it was so successful. After 1 month, the original restaurant actually sold over 1,000 burritos a day, which is quite a lot, especially in a small city like Denver back then. Now it's large. But they tried to originally do like a fine dining type of situation, but it really didn't end up working out. He realized that the fast casual kind of dining is a lot more effective and efficient. So by 2016, which is just last year, they have had over 2,000 restaurants, and 17 are actually international, which is cool that they are, not just American-ish, but they also have subsidiaries. So they opened up a new chain. I guess subsidiaries is the wrong word, but they also opened up a chain of this place called Shop House Southeast Asian Kitchen. They used to have one in Hollywood, but then it shut down for some reason. Anyways, so this is just another type of company that they own. There's 11 of them in the United States. And then the other people, I guess that they had gained more investors throughout their time. They also own 3 Pizzeria Locale restaurants. The weird thing about Chipotle, which I think would almost fix their health issues. They don't franchise their businesses. They want to own. They want to have ownership for all of the locations, which it makes sense because they can really control the employee culture. And then it says that they can maintain its commitment to sustainable ingredients, which I kind of disagree and agree at the same time. Like, sure, you're getting your product sustainably, but if it's not safe to consume, then what's the point of it? I do feel like it would be more beneficial for them to franchise out because a lot of people are responsible and you can still own the restaurant technically. I mean, you do make a lot of revenue off of opening up chain restaurants, which is true. I feel like this company is really pertinent because it really has a big deal to do with the way products are held, the way it can affect people's lives. As I mentioned earlier, the product sales, product safety, and ethics as well. It seems like they're trying to be ethical, but it's kind of not working out for them. I think this is important to understand because at some point you have to realize that you can't control everything and that you can't always have full ownership of your company. I feel like it would be more responsible to be able to branch out and to have other people, put their input, be able to shape the company culture into something a little bit different. And different doesn't always mean that it's bad. When I want to be a CEO, I do feel like safety is a large issue, and the way that we pay our employees and we compensate them is definitely the most important issue. I know that this doesn't necessarily affect this, but I guess it could go under social issues, which is in Unit 8. So, employee compensation is really important, and I feel like just being able to understand different aspects of business and not always having to be in control of the situation is okay. And that's something that I want to take into being a CEO. So this says that we have to discuss 4 cases that we found most interesting. This was okay. I felt like this chapter was kind of bare, and so it wasn't really my favorite, but I'll go through these kind of quickly. So the first case I chose was 8.1. It was the Skechers case where it said that they have muscle-building shoes. I think they were called Shape-Ups. And I remember this being such a big deal. Like, everybody loved them so much. And that's okay. But when you're lying about your product, that's definitely not all right. I mean, it says that it shapes up your legs and your butt while you walk. I remember those commercials. It was super crazy. But yeah, you shape your legs and your muscles while you walk. Well, I mean, that makes sense because the shoes have like a lift on them, so I guess your foot would be moving differently, which would force your muscles to move differently. But ultimately, that does not mean that there were the chiropractic benefits that they mentioned and the other weight loss benefits that they did as well. Chiropractors do a lot of really good work for people, especially people with scoliosis, different body illnesses, and they really do help. There's no way that a pair of shoes could help. And the fact that they were misrepresenting their products is definitely not okay, because I'm sure chiropractic bills in healthcare, ultimately, they can be really expensive. And so if people think, hey, I can just go buy $100 pair of shoes and everything will be fixed, and then it doesn't fix them, that's such a scam, and that's definitely not all right in my book. So, I ultimately don't like Skechers very much in the first place, but then I will go and talk about case number 2, which is 8.2. This is about Joe Camel, the cartoon camel, who sold cigarettes. This was kind of weird to me because, like, I get what they mean. I mean, a lot of marketing companies do choose to do animation, but I never pictured that would have a large impact on the way that kids view the product. I never thought about it. So this is gross because 97.7% of students between 12 and 19 recognized Joe Camel just like Mickey Mouse, which is horrifying. And 58% thought that he was cool. I think the best part about our government, well, not really now, but about our government is that we do have a Surgeon General, and she actually tried to fix the way that these companies would market to the people, which I think is very nice because it's really bizarre that little kids can grow up and think, hey, smoking's cool. They did end up changing the logo to women who are age 20 smoking cigarettes, and then they also tried to regulate the way that cigarettes are sold anyways. So the last one is about Tylenol. there was a woman who had a cyanide-laced Tylenol. Tylenol ultimately causes a lot of liver damage, and if you take too much of it, which I mean, too much of anything is never a good thing, but I did a project in chemistry class about the way that pills dissolve, and I thought this is really interesting. It really does affect your bloodstream and the way that your chemistry inside your body really goes down. So quality control is really important, especially for any medicine, either herbal or not necessarily, manufactured and stuff like that. So it's really important that we are able to, especially in the health industry, in big pharma, to be able to protect our citizens and protect our consumers and our employees from the product that we're making. And I feel like putting the warnings, making sure that they are made at the best quality. We always seem to sacrifice quality for money, and that is never okay. So sorry my video is a little bit over, but yeah, that was Unit 8. It's been a pleasure to have your class, and thank you so much.